Today, we are going to learn about methods of instruction used in African traditional education. That simply means the ways people used to teach and learn in African communities before modern schools came in. In traditional African education, people didn't go to classrooms like we do today. There were no blackboards, no textbooks, no uniforms. But learning still happened every single day. It was a part of life. Children, youth, and even adults were taught how to behave, how to do work, how to respect others, and how to survive and live well in their community. Let's go through 8 main methods that were used to teach in African traditional education. 1. Storytelling. The first method is storytelling. This was one of the most common ways of teaching. The elders and parents would tell stories to children, especially in the evening by the fire. These stories were not just for fun. They taught important lessons, like being honest, hardworking, wise, respectful, and brave. Many stories had animals like the hare, lion, or hyena. Each character showed good or bad behavior. Also, people used proverbs, short wise sayings, like, "A child who is not taught by the mother will be taught by the world." That means it's better to learn from your family before the world teaches you in hard ways. So, storytelling helped children learn about their culture, history, and morals. 2. Rites of passage. The second method is rites of passage. These are special ceremonies that show a person is moving from one stage of life to another, like from childhood to adulthood. Boys and girls would be taught how to be responsible adults. They would learn about marriage, how to behave in the community, how to solve problems, and how to take care of others. These lessons were only taught by the elders or respected teachers. It helped young people understand who they are and what is expected from them. Let's begin by looking at how rite of passage for boys was conducted. In many African communities, especially among the Kikuyu, Maasai, Kalenjin, Luo, Laya, and others, boys went through a ceremony that included circumcision. Circumcision was not just about removing the foreskin. It had deep cultural meaning. Before the day of circumcision, the boys were prepared mentally and emotionally. They were told stories, taught songs, and guided on how to behave like grown men. On the day of circumcision, the whole community came together. The boy had to show bravery. He was not supposed to cry or show fear. After circumcision, they were isolated for a period of healing, sometimes days or even weeks. During this time, they were taught important life lessons by the elders: how to become responsible men, how to lead families, how to protect the community, how to respect women and elders, how to behave with courage and discipline. By the time the boy came back home, he was no longer seen as a child. He was now a young man ready to take up adult roles. Now let's talk about girls. Girls still went through rites of passage. In many African communities, they conducted cultural ceremonies to prepare them for womanhood. For example, they were taught by elder women how to care for a family, how to be respectful and clean, how to cook and manage a household, how to take care of babies and younger siblings, how to carry themselves with dignity and self-control. Sometimes, the girls were given new clothes or beads to show they had now become young women. Songs and dances were performed to celebrate them. Just like boys, after going through the rite of passage, girls were now expected to behave differently, more mature, more responsible, and ready for adult life. These rites of passage helped prepare young people for the next stage of life. They were not just physical changes. They were about learning, growth, and becoming respected members of the community. So you see, viewer, rites of passage were not something small. They were a full training period. They involved the whole community of parents, elders, spiritual leaders, and even age mates. It was also a time to teach about the history, culture, and expectations of society. Today, some of these rites like circumcision for girls are no longer done because they are considered harmful. But the lesson behind them, teaching responsibility, maturity, and cultural values, is still very important. Let's now move on to the next point. 3. Learning by doing, also known as apprenticeship. The third method is learning by doing. This means people learn it by practicing and doing real work with their hands. Young boys and girls were taught different skills by following adults who had experience. For example, a boy would learn how to hunt, fish, farm, or build by watching and helping his father or uncle. A girl would learn cooking, weaving, or taking care of children by helping her mother or aunt. This method was called apprenticeship. The learner stayed close to someone skilled and slowly became an expert. No theory, just practical work. It was learning by watching, copying, and practicing until you became good at it. 4. Observation and imitation. The fourth method is learning by observing and copying. Children in traditional African society learn it a lot just by watching what adults were doing. For example, a boy would sit and watch his father fix tools or lead meetings. A girl would watch her mother dig or attend to visitors. After watching many times, the child would try to do the same thing. There were no books or notebooks. You just had to be alert, copy what others were doing, and keep practicing. This method worked well because children were always close to adults. 5. Songs, dance, and music. The fifth method is using songs and dances to teach. In African traditional education, music was very important. People sang during work, during play, and during ceremonies. These songs were full of lessons. A farming song could teach about hard work. A wedding song could teach about love and respect. A dance could teach about unity, bravery, or warning against bad behavior. Because songs are easy to remember, they help people keep knowledge for many years. Some songs even told history or explained rules. 6. Group work and community activities. The sixth method is learning through group work. In traditional Africa, learning was not done alone. It happened in groups. Boys worked together. Girls worked together. Families did activities together. When people farmed, cooked, went to fetch water, or prepared for ceremonies, they did it as a group. While doing this work, elders would give advice, correct mistakes, or explain why things are done in a certain way. This helped young people learn teamwork, respect, and how to live well with others in the community. 7. Proverbs, riddles, and wise sayings. The seventh method is using proverbs, riddles, and sayings. These were short, clever statements that had deep meaning. A proverb like, "When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you," taught people to have peace in their hearts. Riddles were short puzzles or questions that tested your thinking. These tools help people become wise and clever. They also kept the brain sharp and helped learners remember things easily. 8. Mentorship and elders' guidance. Finally, the eighth method is mentorship by elders. Elders were respected people in the community. They had a lot of knowledge, and they were in charge of teaching the young people. They gave advice, told stories, led prayers, and guided the community. Elders taught not only with words, but also by being good examples. Young people were taught to listen to them and follow their footsteps. Disobeying elders was seen as a bad thing, so learners respected them and learned from them with seriousness. So viewer, these are the 8 main ways that African traditional education worked. Storytelling, learning by doing apprenticeship, rites of passage, observation and imitation, songs, dance, and music, group work, proverbs and riddles, elders and mentorship. As you can see, learning in traditional Africa was very rich. It was not just about books. It was about life, community, behavior, and survival. Everyone in the society, children, youth, and adults, was always learning. Let us be proud of these traditional methods. They may look different from modern schooling, but they were strong and full of wisdom. As senior students, try to compare what we use today in class with what was used before. What can we borrow? What can we bring back? Thank you for listening. Let's meet in the next video.